everyone. I'm Kendria. I need you to go like, follow, and subscribe. Soul Productions.
Perfect. So, Chris, because my securities license and the organizations that I represent, I always got to make sure that I highlight my disclaimers. So I just want to make sure I read this out, that our securities and investment advisory services are offered through Wealth Equity Group, a member of FINRA and SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Smart Group Houston and Exponent Advisors, LLC, are not owned or controlled by World Equity Group. Again, when you're going to be in the wealth game, you got to make sure you stay on top of compliance. So thanks for letting me read that out to everybody.
What's up, everyone? And this is Next Level Thinking. What's up, everyone? It's another episode of Next Level Thinking. As you all know, it's your host, Chris Holmes, bringing you energizing energy and helping you take it to the next level. Today, I'm going to help you get motivated and take life over and overcome your adversity. I have my special guest today by the name of...
I'm Jason Lee with Exponent Advisors here in Houston, Texas. Nice to meet you guys.
Awesome. So, no problem. So go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself so we can get this thing going.
Well, in my firm, I'm the vice president of sales, but really at the end of the day, I'm a connector. I spent about 20 years of my life in the health industry. I moved to the wealth industry, but the fundamental characteristics of relationships has never changed. It's always about how do you serve and take care of people and put things together. And our firm's uniquely equipped to allow me to access my skills, which is finding and creating relationships, nurturing them, and helping them get to and achieve their goals. So.
And that's what it's all about. I'm glad you start off with that, because relationships is everything, especially with everything going on. It's always good to have someone by your side or to talk to help you overcome so much things and much more. So I want to dig a little bit deeper. So in your own words, tell the importance of building a strong relationship and how it can help you out in your life.
Well, I was very fortunate early in my career. At 20 years old, I got my first health club here in Houston, and I got the chance to meet the founder of our organization at the time. His name's Mark Mastro, the founder of 24 Hour Fitness. Now, he's gone on to open up UFC health clubs and health clubs throughout the world. I mean, so he's an investor in the Sacramento Kings. Don't hold that against him. But he's been very successful. And the thing that he told me early on, when I was a young general manager, just a young kid trying to prove myself, he came to my health club and he said, if you're going to be successful, you have to be the mayor. And by being the mayor, he meant that everybody who walks in these doors has to think of you as their access to everything. And so I had the pleasure of working all the way from East Houston. So I was in down by Jacinto City, all the way to Meyerland, to the Galleria, to Clear Lake, to the west side of Houston, right on the outskirts of Westheimer and Beltway. And so being in that same environment, then I had to pivot often and try to really morph myself to my environment and to the demographics and the folks that I dealt with on a daily basis. But the one thing that didn't change was whenever somebody joined my club, I always said, before you do anything, you have to talk to me. And the reason why I want you to talk to me is because I know the guy at the tire shop. I know the best tailor. I know the best nightclub. You don't come into Houston, Texas and not talk to Jason Lee, because I'm going to make sure I know how to set you up first class. And even to this day, my wife will laugh, because we can be on whatever side of town. It doesn't matter, downtown club, dinner, Galveston. And there's about a 99% chance we're going to be sitting at dinner and some guy's going to walk up to my table or some lady's going to walk up to my table and go, Jay. And that's pretty unique. And it boils down to that same thing, just relationships.
And it definitely tops on about like being a servant into life. And I never thought about that. So like the whole time you were speaking is like being the mayor. And I just like listening in, but it really does make a sense, because you want to make people feel comfortable of approaching you, asking you questions and building that relationship. And that just magnifies and just explodes in so many different ways, because then all these different people gonna tell, hey, this person did this, he's treating me out to eat, he's a great servant. I mean, he does all these great things and much more. And that's how, things really get going. You start planting seeds in different people, you show them a good time and things like that, and give them a tremendous amount of value, and things just grow naturally.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
Yes. So with that, as you grow in your own journey and much more, what are some of the obstacles that you face? So, of course, we start off strong with the energy and much more, which is great. But what are some of the things that you had to overcome to become this person that was like a source, or as you say, the mayor, being such of a great influence to other people?
Well, I think early in my career, Chris, I didn't really have anything to overcome in the sense that I was really pretty much fearless and reckless. Growing up without a lot of money, a single mom, and kind of the weakling, right? I was a little skinny kid in school, and I learned to make friends by being reckless, and I was one of the, I always tell people there was the nerds, the cool kids, and the bad kids. Well, I wasn't cool, and I was a nerd, so I ended up in the bad kid group. And so part of that translated to just this reckless abandonment when I was younger. And once I learned how to make money and connect and learn that skill set, I didn't really, I never really considered anything an obstacle. I just tackled it. My real obstacle came as an adult once I became had moved up in my career and was in charge of a large area, had developed and built a house and had a career and a big bank account, a trophy wife and a house on the golf course. I had all those things, and nothing really shifted for me, and fear didn't get into my life until I had a child. And once I had my daughter, I really wasn't equipped to lead a household like I thought I was. I just seen it on TV. I didn't know what it looked like what good really looked like. And so then I started to fear, because now I felt like I was responsible for something, like that if I failed, she was not going to have the life that I had, I'd always envisioned for myself, and so that was the biggest obstacle, was fear. And so I really started to pivot, started to stutter step, and started to question my moves, and then that, and not being equipped for marriage and not being equipped to lead a household translated to stress, and that translated to how I led my team, and it was a kind of a vicious circle, right?
Mhm.
And so having that fear started to, cause me to take, really not go out and lead the way that I'd always led, which was just get out there and make things happen. I started stepping and pivoting and never really, taking the bull by the horns like I used to. And then about 5 years ago, I
And
decided.
I want to go ahead and like dig in this one because I think this is very valuable,
This is good.
especially
Yeah, please.
especially when you're talking about fatherhood. And let's be honest, there is no straight manuscript when it comes to raising a child. I don't care what nobody says. Every
No,
child is
more
different.
marriage, yeah. Closest thing there is to manuscript that you'll ever have is the Bible, my man, and it's
Hey,
still it's left up with some interpretation. So we need some Holy Spirit to make it happen. You're
yes,
correct.
yes. And I think with this actually is a tremendous, especially this right here, because everybody's going to face it at some kind of point, because it's the unknown. It pushes you outside your comfort zone, and you have to think on your feet. And I'm gonna use not only your situation of being a father, but I think it applies to so many different things. It's always when you're going into something that's completely uncomfortable or something that you're unaware of, is when you really start to grow. It's not when you're comfortable and you know everything that you really start growing. It's always seems like, why does this always happen to me? I'm gonna figure this out. And it's like you like in the valley that things
Mhm.
start really, you start finding out who you are and growing into the person you should become.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, and it's not really until you have something significant to lose that you really start to develop fear. And when you start to develop fear, is when you have to learn to break through. And that's really what happened, right? So I started to develop the fear of loss. When I had nothing, there was nothing to lose. So when you have nothing and there's nothing to lose, it really doesn't matter. And I lived that way. I drove 120 miles down the road. I would party at the club all night, show up to work the next day,
Who,
first
you?
dude in,
You?
last dude out. Yeah, I was. That's the life that I lived. But when I had this little girl, I was responsible for showing her how to be. What I wanted to paint this picture of what I could, but I never witnessed that. I didn't know what good looked like. So I was very afraid, and so I had to go through that. I did what most men do, or really most people do at some point in time in their life. I started seeking my satisfaction or gratification through life, through my position in life. I thought it was the job that I had that was going to bring me gratification. And so I jumped out of my business and started chasing money through the wealth industry and other things. But at the end of the day, I went through a divorce and some other things along the way. But what I really uncovered was those obstacles and all that stuff was really causing you to seek what life was really about for me, which at the end of the day is about having a purpose, right? And so
Oh,
you
I'm
live
so
life
glad you got
without,
to that because I was
yeah,
about to bring it up, but you already brought it on. Keep going.
yeah, yeah. So I had to do a lot of uncovering, my man, and figure out that really what it boils down to is that I needed to figure out what I wanted to be, and what I wanted to be doesn't account to what's in my bank account or what's in my pocketbook or what kind of car I drive or any of those things. What I wanted to be is and I use the term lifestyle and legacy. A lot of times people are focused on their lifestyle, but the legacy is what they forget. And so, and the legacy is not so much how much stuff did you stack up. It's how many lives did you impact along the way. And so I figured that out. I had a mentor pour into me about 5 years ago, and I was fortunate enough that God placed a number of mentors into my life. And once I started to embrace what they were teaching me, how to be a well-rounded man, how to focus on personal development, personal growth, getting right spiritually, I found Christ and started to live with that as my operating focus, and decided I was going to commit my life to people and not profits. Once that started to happen, the profits started to expand exponentially.
Naturally.
Opportunity exposed itself. Doors. The same mayor that I was before, when I was a mayor, just trying to have the right club access and the right free car washes. It became the mayor of service opportunities and chances to step in. And then all of a sudden, I always tell people, I said, I'm the funniest money management guy you'll ever meet because I don't care about money. It's just what it boils down to is I think it's powerful. I think it gets things done. It helps you achieve things. But at the end of the day, it's not what it's about. And so I was very fortunate that was exposed to me about 5 years ago. And then I battled back. I was when I came to the Lord, I was in a one-bedroom apartment having with just my daughter and really stripped down to nothing, man, trying to figure out what I was going to do in my life. And then, man, it was just like one thing after another. And then I always laugh. As soon as I start worrying about the money, man, the deals close up. And as soon as I quit worrying about it, the phone rings and someone says, "Hey, you need." Oh, what just happened?
Oh, you good. Keep going. And while are you still there? Hey, what's up, everyone? We had a little technical difficulty, but you know what? The show must go on, so it's all good. So, hey, it happens.
And
Hey,
I'm telling you, man,
so
it's one of those days.
it's all good. It's all good. From all the great things that you were talking about earlier, how has this transitioned into your career? Because I know with you being a father and much more, it forced you outside your comfort zone to become a great leader or the mayor in your situation. So, how has that unfolded in your career?
Well, first of all, I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to go to work for an organization where they really were looking for somebody who could be kind of a mayoral mindset as to how they would go and operate the business. So because of the way our systems are set up and designed, unlike traditional firms where I'm out on my own trying to grow my own brand under their shield, we work as a collaborative team. So I get to bring all their resources to every client, regardless of where I meet them. So they could be an upstart organization or privately held business all the way to a larger company with, over 50 years old, that I don't have to feel intimidated as like a new advisor talking to individuals. I get to work with people who are, already having a lot of success. And just because I've been in the industry for a few years, I still get to bring over 100 years of combined experience. And I believe God allowed me to be in this position because they needed a person who could walk in and go find and create opportunities. And so it was really just perfect timing. I spend, 75% of my time in service. And by service, I mean out trying to connect people, man. I'm out trying to, I use the term serve to sell. So I am actively involved in a lot of organizations where you get to meet a lot of people, connect those people, create opportunities. And through that, you get referrals. And that's really helped the business and helped drive and create opportunities. And then in addition to that, trying to create a social media brand and learning along the way. I will tell you this, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to be prepared to get your butt kicked. That's the one thing I figured out. I tried to be an entrepreneur, went through the divorce, got my butt kicked, went back to a corporate job. That lasted for like a year. And I said, man, I can't do it anymore. I gotta be out on my own. I'll take whatever fight I got to be in to be on my own, because it's just it's so much more fun to go out and create and have to learn and get to meet men like yourself and leaders like yourself who are inspired to go do great things. And it's amazing the doors that get open and the people that are out there creating wonderful. Even right now in this environment, it's always the entrepreneurs that are going to go pull us out of this deal. It's always the person who's creative it's the person that's down and falling. It'll be that person who shifts their business from a distillery to a hand sanitizer company, or that's entrepreneurship, and that's the beauty of what we get to do.
Great, great, great. And I'm glad that you brought all that up and much more. So I'm going to have to do a little bit something different what I usually do, because I can already tell because weather is about to kind of do its thing.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
yeah, if in Huntsville's about to storm, the last thing I want to do is start recording and lose all of this. So
Okay.
what I want to do is I'm going to break this into two parts. Is that okay with you?
That's great. That works
Yes,
for
yes,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like even next time it's gonna be all smooth and much more, but I want to make sure that I have all the valuable information that you had right then, so we can combine this into a good little two-part series, so we can make sure that people get the maximum of value. Because I don't want to cut you short on all of that, but I also want to be mindful, because the last thing I want to do is lose all the great jewels that you just dropped. So
Nah, man. I first of all appreciate the compliments, but yeah, anything you want to do, man, I'm here to serve.
appreciate it. Appreciate it. So we're gonna do a little something different on this episode. So we're gonna break this into two parts, and we're gonna bring our guests back in. So on this one, make sure you share part one, and then we'll release part two on the next time when we have better weather. I can already hear the thunder, and the last thing I want to lose is this. So
Hey,
it's all
man, what we
good.
thought you could be an entrepreneur. There's going to be times you have to pivot, right?
You having
So,
this is one of those times. So we're gonna bring them back on the next episode, and make sure you subscribe and bring all the energy and much more and comment on this one, because like this is a lot of information that people need to know, especially when it comes to father entrepreneurship and much more. So we're gonna cut it short for now, and peace and much love.
Round the way.